Since the Legends Football League was formed in 2009, only 3 teams have brought home the Legends Cup. The Los Angeles Temptation, the Chicago Bliss, and the Seattle Mist. These are their stories. This is LFL Dynasties. Last time on Dynasties, we saw the Chicago Bliss come up short in their bid for a three-peat. The ensuing offseason would see a slew of changes that would threaten to topple the blissful empire entirely.
When the schedule came out in January, this is the game everybody circled as the marquee matchup of this season. Fast forward to today, this Chicago team is not the same team. They don't have an identity. Is this still the marquee matchup we talked about?
That remains to be seen. You're right. It's a completely different Chicago Bliss team. Their franchise quarterback, Heather Furr, she was widely overrated at quarterback. She was forced to retire. They lost 2 key players. They were released, Nneka Nwani and Ali Alberts. Totally different Chicago team tonight.
Nwani and Alberts would return in 2017, but losing this many starters in one offseason would kill most teams. Luckily for the Bliss, this set the stage for the Australian invasion.
I'm Jacinda Barclay and I'm a quarterback for the New South Wales Surge. I'm number 17 and I'm from Malabar. I'm going to be the best quarterback in the country because as Australia's top baseball pitcher, I know what it takes to be number 1.
LFL Australia played for one full season in 2014. This league was bolstered by established American LFL stars like Monique Gaxiola and Adrian Purnell, but created a host of homegrown stars as well. While some would play in the Ladies Gridiron League in 2015, many more would come to America and star in LFL USA. This invasion would be a huge part of Keith Hack's instant rebuild, beginning with signing Lingerie Bowl Australia MVP Jacinda Barclay to replace Heather Furr. Barclay was the 2014 LFL Australia Offensive Player of the Year and would be more than an adequate replacement. The Bliss had a rocky start to the 2016 season with a tough loss to the Seattle Mist in a rematch of the 2015 Legends Cup Final. While the rest of the league couldn't write the Bliss off fast enough, Hack righted the ship and they would not lose another game that season. Chicago responded to the loss to Seattle with a 70-7 blowout over New England. A 66-0 thumping of Omaha, and closed out the season with a 39-32 barn burner win over Atlanta, running away with the Eastern Conference title. While Jacinda Barclay's arrival got most of the attention in the Windy City, they had plenty of solid individual efforts. Dina Fagiano responded to an expanded role with the team with an all-fantasy season. Chantel Taylor continued to dominate as the league's best defensive player. Kristen Morrison had a huge breakout year, taking LFL Defensive Player of the Year honors. And the Ferrari did what the Ferrari does, dominate defenses with an iron fist.
I do this. I work. Hey, Demery. What's your name? You Demery? Oh, nice to meet you. All right.
The next 40 minutes will determine which team of the Eastern Conference will advance. I'm with two ladies right now that will certainly play a factor in that tonight. First, we have Adrian Purnell of Atlanta. Adrian, bluntly asking, is your team capable of beating Chicago?
That was a disrespectful question. Of course, we are capable, more than capable. You'll see tonight.
In the 2016 Eastern Final, the Bliss faced Dane Robinson's Atlanta Steam for the third straight year. The Steam were on a mission on this night, dominating the first half. They would run up a 25-8 lead going into the break, and it looked like 3 years of near misses would finally be over for Atlanta. Or so we thought. The Bliss came out of the break firing on all cylinders with an opening drive touchdown by the Ferrari Christelle Harris. This completely turned the game around as the Steam would not score again. No matter how close Atlanta got, the Bliss's defense refused to break. On their second possession of the second half, Barkley aired it out to Mae Campbell to cut Atlanta's lead to 1. The Bliss completed the comeback going the length of the field, culminating in a fourth down touchdown by the Ferrari.
A very important 4th and goal pitch play. And there it is. When you need it the most, you go to your franchise player, and that is Christelle, the Ferrari Harris.
This sent the Bliss to a league record 4th consecutive LFL title game. At Legends Cup 2016, Hacks Bliss once again faced Chris Michelson's Seattle Mist in a rematch of the 2015 title game. The defending Legends Cup champions once again boasted a star-studded lineup including Dominic Malloy, Stevie Schnur, KK Matheny, and in her last LFL game, 2019 LFL Hall of Fame inductee Danica Brace. The Mist served notice that they had no intention of giving up their title with a Dominic Malloy touchdown on Seattle's second play of the game. The Bliss defense would settle down with a goal line stand, setting the stage for Jacinda Barkley to connect with A.J. Johnson on a goal line touchdown pass, tying things up.
In Chicago taking over from the 5. Looking down the field has A.J. Johnson in the open field. And Johnson will score.
A.J. Johnson, we spoke about her in the pregame.
The Mist responded on the ensuing drive with Rashinda Fowler bringing it in to reclaim the lead. Things went from bad to worse for Chicago as Jessica Hopkins picked off a Jacinda Barkley pass, putting Seattle back in the Bliss's red zone. From there, the Bull, Stevie Schnur, took it to the house, extending Seattle's lead. The Bliss finally caught a break when Christelle Harris recovered a Chicago fumble and the Ferrari cruised for the Bliss's second touchdown of the day. Jacinda Barkley found A.J. Johnson for a last-minute touchdown, sending them to the break with a 1-point lead. The real turning point of the game came in the second possession of the second half. Seattle on Chicago's doorstep yet again, only to be stopped dead in their tracks. This was the third time the Mist were inside the Chicago 5-yard line, only to be stopped by the Bliss every single time. This absolutely dazed the champions as the Bliss drove the ball down Seattle's throats to extend their lead.
A 1st and goal. This is a quarterback sneak. That is Barkley muscling her way in the end zone, extending Chicago's lead to 25-18.
But the Mist weren't quite done yet, reclaiming the lead early in the fourth quarter. But this day would belong to Jacinda Barkley and A.J. Johnson as they were just too much for Seattle.
Lane is going to try the end zone. And getting into the end zone is Jacinda Barkley. What a drive and what conviction for number 15.
Every other quarterback in the LFL would have been sacked.
The Mist had one last chance in the closing minutes, but Jamar Fennell picked off KK Matheny at the goal line, and Chicago's third Legends Cup title was theirs.
I think it's that moment of realization, knowing that everything you've worked for, dating back to minicamp, training camp, OTAs, all the weights, all the running, all the game film, has come to an end here.
You really have to hand it to quarterback Jacinda Barkley. She came to play tonight. What a game she played. She was down, she got picked off, she came back, and they got the championship back.
What a moment for this franchise. They are 12 seconds away from being the 2016 Legends Cup champions. And with this young talent, you got to believe they're going to be back.
It was fitting that a win in easily the greatest game in LFL history capped the toughest year in Blistery. In spite of all the roster changes, suspensions, and holdouts, the Bliss were back on top. But for how long? In 2017, the Bliss would see yet another overhaul, and once again Keith Hack would use the Australian invasion to reload. With Jacinda Barkley returning to Australia to play pro Aussie rules football, Jane Caldwell would replace her under center, and fellow countryman Quincy Hewitt would also join her on the team. And in a good news, bad news situation, Ali Alberts returned from suspension while Dina Fagiano would retire. In spite of a perfect 4-0 record during the regular season, the Atlanta Steam would finally get their revenge, ending Chicago's reign in the Eastern Final. This left the Bliss with plenty of questions going into 2018, a year where the LFL nearly hit the self-destruct button. The 2018 saw the LFL seemingly in freefall with one major problem after another. In a near fatal move, the league replaced the popular bikini bottom uniforms with long pants. While the change looked good on some players, they looked like baggy mom jeans on most. The uniform change and the more woke tone the league took in its marketing killed attendance league-wide. The result was the league backtracking and bringing back the short shorts late in the season, but the damage had already been done. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Rebellion folded after just one season. They were replaced by the first franchise not owned by Mitch Mortaza or his partners, the Nashville Knights. They would begin their tumultuous history by signing virtually the entire Seattle Mist roster and coaching staff. But that debacle is for another Dynasties episode. With chaos swirling all around them, the Bliss seemed to be the rock of stability the LFL desperately needed. But they too had their share of changes. The Bliss lost not one but two cornerstones this season when AJ Johnson and their longtime franchise player Chrisdell Harris both left Chicago, forcing the Bliss to reload yet again. In spite of these losses, it was the same old Bliss with yet another 4-0 season, finished tied for first in the Eastern Conference. In the 2018 Eastern Final, the Bliss faced Danica Brace's unbeaten Nashville Knights. Chicago's defense showed why they were the league's best, smothering the Knights' all-star offense. This win sent the Bliss to Texas for their record 6th championship game.
one night.
Go out and play for the rest of your life.
A worldwide stage.
Blood, sweat, and tears. It's not just about the game tonight.
Austin.
Everything that we've been through since the beginning will be for that moment.
Chicago.
How does this feel?
Oh, it doesn't get any better than this.
The opportunity to live in infamy. Legends Cup 2018.
At Legends Cup 2018, the Bliss faced a new foe in the Cinderella Austin Acoustic, led by Tashay Winfrey and Anna Garza. The upstarts got a jump start on the Bliss, but the Acoustic got stopped dead in their tracks at the Chicago goal line. This stand fired up Jane Caldwell in the Chicago offense, and Javelle Thompson showed everyone why she was Christelle Harris's heir apparent, powering her way to the first score of the game.
A 4th and 1 carry back to Thompson. And Thompson churning those legs, still going. Kendra Robinson has her held up.
It is uncanny how she finds a way and finds holes to get in the end zone. Watch this.
Well, hold on a second. Is this a score? Or was the whistle blown? Here's Javelle Thompson being held up what felt like an eternity. Yet they're still allowing her to advance the ball, and they're going to give Chicago a score here.
After yet another red zone stop, the Bliss went back to the running game, and Javelle Thompson sent the Bliss to the break up 12-0.
Caldwell looking over that Austin defense. They're going to stay in the ground. That's Javelle Thompson. Thompson into the end zone for a Chicago touchdown.
Austin's defense shut Jane Caldwell down after the break, setting up the Acoustics' first score of the game.
And this offense, great field position inside the 19 of Chicago. Wide open, Courtney Dowdy. Touchdown, Austin.
Boom goes the dynamite. What a call by Mike Oliveira.
But nobody was stopping the Bliss on this night. Caldwell and Thompson added a touchdown each, padding their lead.
Full backfield. Robinson and Thompson. That's Thompson. Wasn't even contested up the middle. Touchdown, Bliss.
I love the way she reads blocks. She went off of May Gamble's block, and whatever way the block went, she went the other way, almost walked in the end zone.
Winfrey and the Dowdy sisters rallied to make it close, but their comeback would come up just a little short.
Of Aubrey Williams here. And here's the kick. It sails into the crowd. So Chicago will take over on downs and run the clock out. The Chicago Bliss, with this championship, will become the winningest franchise in LFL history with 4 Legends Cup championships.
You really have to hand it to Keith Hack. He is at the top of the charts when you talk about head coaches in the LFL. All he likes to do is win, and he is not satisfied unless he wins the championship.
The win not only gave the Bliss their record 4th LFL title, but at long last they completed a perfect 6-0 season. This was also Chicago's 40th win overall, the most in league history. Of all the players who were part of Chicago's first championship in 2013, only Chantel Taylor and Allie Alberts were still there for their last, and only Taylor played in all 4 of their wins. Nobody embodied the spirit of next man up quite like the 2013 to 2018 Chicago Bliss. But in the offseason, the Bliss found one piece of the puzzle that couldn't be replaced. Making the announcement on his Instagram, longtime coach Keith Hack resigned along with his assistants, citing issues with the league's direction as his reasons. Virtually the entire roster left with him, some to other teams, some to retirement, but the Bliss would never win another LFL game. Next time on Dynasties, we go on a crazy joyride with the wildest show on turf. See you then. On October 12, 2020, former Bliss quarterback Jacinda Barkley was found dead in her home in Perth, Australia. Her death was later ruled as a suicide. Jacinda Barkley, trailblazer, 3-sport athlete, and 2-time LFL champion, was 29 years old. This episode of Dynasties is dedicated to the life and legacy of Jacinda Barkley. Her football career was just 6 seasons, but her passion, enthusiasm, and love of sport will live on with everyone who knew her or saw her play.